Join us for lively discussion about the A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to A-State Connections here on ASU-TV. I am Ian Sanders, a mass communications student here at Arkansas State University. As part of the Mass Media Communications program at Arkansas State, students take a class that allows them to work on documentaries. In this documentary, students took a detailed look at a time of school consolidations and economic challenges in the Arkansas Delta. Telling us more about this are Olivia Dockins and Jacob Cater. Welcome to the show, everyone. How are we doing today?
It's good to be here. We're doing good.
Yes, likewise. Still a little tired, because it's in the morning, but I'm doing pretty good. So I kind of want to get to know you guys a little bit, and I kind of want to start with you, Jacob. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you heard about Arkansas State University, your process of getting here, and what got you so interested in media.
So when I was in high school, I went to a very, very small school in a very small town. And I was very interested in media because I was a student body president, and I did the morning announcements, and my principal said, you should, do this more often. And so I got into broadcasting when I was in high school with a different company. Our high school was so small we didn't have that program. But after that, I kind of went searching and saw that A-State had the best media program, and I was like, well, how do I get to A-State? So I started out at ASU-BB in community college and transferred here after a very generous scholarship. So,
Wow. So people at your school just saw the skills and just thought, hey, you need to pursue this, and that's kind of what led you here. Yeah. Nice. Olivia?
So, I kind of come from the same spot as Jacob. We had a really small school, and I didn't have any way to start. We didn't have any programs or anything like that. I mean, we had, theater and things, but that wasn't me. I love movies and music, and I loved media just in general, pop culture, all that kind of stuff. And I didn't realize that other people had those interests coming from, a graduating class of 60 people. And so when I was speaking with my counselor about, what I wanted to do as far as college and whatever, she told me that Arkansas State had the best media program around here. And she put me in touch with some people, and I just basically started emailing and got my way here.
Wow. So you two really are similar. Both of y'all just capitalize on the skills that people said that y'all had and could enhance in y'all's future. That is incredible. That's awesome. So coming to ASU, what have you guys found the most surprising about the university as a whole as media students?
So small town guy talking here. I am very used to the small town culture, and A-State is very big. There are more people at this college than there are in my town. So I was very used to the small town life. And it was kind of overwhelming at first because, there's, like I said, lots of people here. But, in the media department itself, it's kind of like a small community. And I really was kind of surprised by that, and I really like it.
Awesome. What about you, Olivia?
Yeah, I agree with Jacob. Just coming in here, as a freshman, I didn't know anything. I was terrified. But as I kind of got around and, introduced myself to people and started talking, and now I'm sitting here on A-State Connections. I made friends, and all these people here, they know me, I know them, and it is very much like a small-town community in the media school.
Yes, here on A-State Connections. Way to go. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of both of you guys. Yeah, that's awesome. Y'all made some really good, valid points. Whether you're from a small town or a big town or even a good medium-sized town, coming to A-State, new experience, new friends, and you can almost, instantly or over time consider them as family. So that's great. So I want to dive into a little bit on what you guys have been working on, actually, because I hear that you guys have a documentary that you guys are working on. So tell us a little bit about that and kind of who or what inspired the idea.
Well, I want to give credit to Jacob because Jacob it pretty much brought up this idea. When we were discussing what we want to do, I said something about the tornadoes. And we started thinking about how we were going to do that. And I was like, that's going to be really difficult. And then Jacob popped up and he was like, hey, I have a lot of information on consolidated schools. And it's something that I'm super passionate about. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, tell me more. Show me what you have. And he has a ton of information and made it really easier, I guess, to get this project started.
Yeah. So going off of that, I'm a nerd. And what inspired this, we'll start there. Mm-hmm. My family is from a very small town in southeastern Arkansas, mm-hmm. down in Ashley County, called Fountain Hill.
Yes.
And, you know, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, and my mom all graduated from Fountain Hill High School. Well, the school closed in 2004. And it was devastating to the town, devastating to, my family who'd grown up there, had generations of people had gone through that school. And to see just all of a sudden just up and close its doors, it's kind of devastating. And I saw the impact that had from the stories that my pappy would tell me about what the town used to be like. And then what I see it as, the only business there now is a Dollar General. Wow. And so, yeah, it's very, the closing of the school took a very big toll on the town itself. And I realized as I got older that it was not just unique to Fountain Hill. There, in the state of Arkansas, there are over 300 schools that face the same fate. And all of those towns have suffered since those schools closed. And most of those schools are in the Delta. So that's kind of why our focus is in the Delta, and why, I started this project when I was in high school. I started doing the research just for fun because I'm a nerd. And so, yeah, like it's good to see it come full circle. And I'm glad that I can express it in this way and kind of share it with other people.
Yeah. So if I understand correctly, first of all, that's deep and very powerful and very heartbreaking. And it's going back to what Olivia said. Is it these natural disasters that happen? Like she mentioned, the tornado that have caused these schools to shut down?
No, usually it's economics.
Economics. Okay.
Always the money thing. Always the money thing.
Government policy, brief history lesson. In 2004, Governor Mike Huckabee passed an act, Act 60. And Act 60 said, if you have less than 350 students in your school, you have to close. So that wiped out about 90 schools in the state of Arkansas. And all those schools went to bigger schools, and that act has since been repealed. But I think with some of the new legislation in the state that could be a very real possibility that more schools will close in the future, and I would like to prevent that from happening as much as I can.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. So as you guys were doing research for this topic, have you guys found, you mentioned, you just gave me a really nice history lesson. First of all, bravo, that's interesting. I'm a history kind of guy, so I like to learn little bits and pieces of stuff like that, even if it does stink of the result. But with y'all's research, what are some things that you guys found that were also interesting and factual? Olivia, I'm gonna start with you.
So we learn things every day, truthfully. I mean, we were up here last night until 11:30, I think. Editing, researching. We're in the process of putting together, all of our clips and things like that. And we Googled something the other day. It was percentage of schools, and Jacob did all the math. And percentage of schools that close, I don't know, something. He did it all. But we Google and learn things literally every day. And we're still editing and learning new things.
Okay. You're getting a lot of praise here, Jacob. I don't know, man. Are you?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing I've learned out of all this is how to use
Premiere Pro.
Premiere Pro a little better.
It's a pain.
It is, but we're learning. But also, these people that we interview, from them, I've learned, just what this means to other people. The people, they come and they talk to us about how they were so sad when their school closed and how they wish that their town was like it was back in the day. And, that they're so passionate about their town. And I think, I share that same passion about my town. But I've learned, that sometimes you don't really know what a good thing you have until it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. For some of the people that you interviewed, were they former faculty, staff, or students from some of the schools that did have to shut down, or were they residents, or was it kind of a mix of all the above?
So it was kind of a mix. Two of the people that we interviewed were students of both of the schools that are included in our documentary. And one of them is the lady who owns one of the school grounds currently, where a lot of the old buildings are still standing. And she was very gracious enough to let us go in and take B-roll inside of the buildings and just kind of go on the school grounds.
Yeah. When you went, that's interesting. When you went inside of the schools that shut down and you were filming that B-roll, what was going through your mind as you saw once this a piece of land that was filled with education, students, and teachers and staff, now all of a sudden kind of feel like a closed down business or a wasteland? What was going through your mind? What were your feelings?
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, first of all, it's really cool. I mean, the history, if those walls could talk, they've been up for, up since the 50s, 60s. I mean, these buildings have been there forever.
Yeah.
But it was sad just to come through and see all of this history that was still there. They've got the conference championship banners up. They've got, still they got the gym floor. They've got the chairs and stuff from the bleachers and whatever. But it really is just sad just to come through and look. And we've looked at pictures. We were looking at a basketball picture last night, and the gym is packed. And, it's like a mid shot of a basketball game. And it's really interesting, to see just how the gym has basically just fallen apart since nobody's there to, keep up with it and use it. And, it's very sad.
Yeah. What about you, Jacob? Similar emotions?
Yeah. It's like she said, it's kind of sad to go and see these places. Like the buildings aren't used anymore. The halls that used to have a lot of kids in them are just desolate. The basketball gym is used every now and then for like, local gatherings. But other than that, it sits empty most of the time. And you have all of these facilities that, used to house education and shape the futures of kids in the region. And then now it's just gone. They've closed it for, the sake of money.
Yeah, and you're right. It is sad to see something like that, a historical monument that was meant to empower students, the next generation of students for education. Now, like you said, look like a desolate, piece of land. So yes, that's concerning. It really is concerning because education, I value it as very important, and empowering students to be the next generation of workforce leaders, employees, and employers, that's how we move forward in the world. And if we don't teach these students at a young age small details of fundamental facts and values about workforce, whether that just be showing up for math class because everyone loves math, it's important. It is important. Olivia Dockins and Jacob Cater are joining us on A-State Connections to discuss their documentary called Death in the Delta. We'll be right back with more A-State Connections after this.
Students should watch ASU-TV just to see the creativity that a college student can get. The creativity that some of these students have is truly amazing. Getting that experience can really just take you further, and I feel like our program does that for a lot of students.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
Welcome back to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I am Ian Sanders. Olivia Dockins and Jacob Cater are on A-State Connections to talk about their documentary, Death in the Delta. Once again, guys, thank you guys for being here.
It's good to be here.
So last time we dived in a little bit into the y'all's documentary, kind of the inspiration behind it and the feelings that were surrounding you guys as y'all were starting to put it together. But during the break, something that you guys told me was that, you know, it wasn't just you two that had been working on this. So kind of broaden us out a little bit and tell us who exactly all has been working on this and kind of the challenges that you guys face as working as a team and as individuals on this massive project. Jacob, I'll start with you.
Okay, so yeah, Tiernan and Reka and Su Young have all been very patient and gracious with us. They've kind of been willing to do, you know, whatever, you know, if we told them, you know, we're going to pack up this day and go take some shots of a school that's 45 minutes away, then they would come and they would help us with that. They were very helpful on the day that we did go do that. And they're always willing to help. We've got a group chat. They're always very supportive of the things that we're doing, even if they can't make it. Tiernan's on the rugby team, so he can't always make it. But he's always probably the most supportive guy that we've got.
Definitely.
He's the hype man. That's what we like to call him.
Awesome. So he's kind of that guy that says, yeah, let's go, guys. We got this. Or you guys got this.
Yeah.
We can do this. It's going to be a good day.
Yes.
Kind of like that?
Yeah, he does really good at that. Reka's very good at photography and graphics, and Su Young's also very, very gifted in photography, and they both helped us a lot whenever we went and visited Stanford and took all those pictures and videos and stuff.
Yeah. So you mentioned kind of what they've done and what they're good at. You know, you mentioned photography. Jacob, what do you think your greatest skill was when you as you guys are putting this together? Is it the filming? Is it the editing? You mentioned Adobe.
Yeah, it's definitely not that.
So definitely not that. So what do you think your best skill was when you're putting this together?
Okay, so I've been the one with all the information.
The research guy.
The research guy, yeah. I've had this information since I was a senior in high school. Anyway, so it's just been kind of, you know, bundled up and waiting to be used. But I'm the one that scheduled all of our interviews and gotten to talk to people, conducted the interviews. So like kind of just, you know, the guy that's gathering all of this information together to be used.
Okay. Olivia, so what were some of the challenges that you believe you have faced while putting this together, and what do you think your best skill was while putting this together?
Well, like Jacob said, he's the information guy. He has the vision, and I know he's very passionate about this, and I want to help him try to execute that vision as much as I can with as little as I know about Premiere Pro, because we're Googling things every night on Premiere Pro. It's a very, very difficult program to work with. But he's basically our vision guy, and he tells me kind of what he wants to see, if that makes sense. And then I'm dragging and dropping the files. I'm trimming the files. I'm cutting the files. I'm more of like the main editor, I guess you could say. But I mean, we're both sitting there. But he's kind of just showing me, and he's like, and if I can't see what he wants, he comes over and he's like, just give me the mouse. And then he starts doing it on there. So
yes, it sounds like you guys have this kind of love-hate relationship with Adobe Premiere Pro.
Yes.
No, it's not everyone's favorite. Not everyone's favorite. I've used it. Not my fave, so I understand. But yeah, I'm also not the best editor. So I think that's where you and me differ, Olivia.
Yeah.
I'm more the film guy. I love film. So you'll see me most likely outside shooting B-roll, trying to get as many people doing stuff as possible. Or if I'm getting a shot for historical purposes, I'm more likely to do that. And speaking of, I want to talk about perspective for a little bit. You mentioned, Jacob, last time that you went and got some interviewees to talk about these schools and the devastation of them shutting down. What other perspectives do you think you wish you would have gotten for the documentary, if there are any, and what would have those been?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
If any.
I really haven't thought much about that because I think the perspective that we have is kind of how we want to tell the story. I've told people this story over and over and over, but I've never put it into film before. So that's something that we've been working on. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. But I think the perspective that I've had is the same, and I think, I don't want to sound cocky when I say this, I think this is the best perspective to have. So,
not cocky at all.
Right. I think, I had somebody ask me, well, did you consider, using the perspective of what it would be like to go to a bigger school as opposed to a smaller school? No, because this documentary is about the smaller schools that are closed. The bigger schools are still open.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're focusing on, and that's the perspective that's kind of, driving this whole documentary.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really interesting how, and you're right, because it's these smaller schools that are suffering the most. So finding the people, as someone who's putting together a documentary and wanting to be the interviewer, it's very important to get the facts and details from the people who were there, who lived it, and are still going through it. So absolutely love that approach. Want to go back to the documentary and the process. Where are you guys right now with the documentary, and when do you think that it'll be live for people to view?
It'll be done. Trust it's going to get done by April 29th when we show it. It's going to get done. Right now we're about two and a half minutes in. We're doing good though. We're working on it. I promise. We've been up there every night. It's tedious, and
especially when you have to Google stuff.
Yes, when we don't really know how to use the program. So, kind of back to the perspective thing. We're on a huge time crunch, and I think if we would have had a year, let's say, to put this together, we could have gotten a lot more perspectives. Maybe brought in somebody who was like, "Yeah, big schools are better," whatever. But we don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so you mean to tell me, you mentioned you're at 2 minutes. So if you're telling me that if I'm looking for a full out 30-minute to an hour documentary about this problem, then I should just say, pack myself up and say, "Hey, thank you for your time, but I gotta go eat, fam," or just something.
No. That's not what we're saying at all. I think we're 2.5 minutes in, and this documentary is supposed to be 26 minutes.
Okay, so you're aiming for about 30 then.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're just we've just been kind of getting the ball rolling on editing and production so far. Like, we've got all the interviews, we've got all the information. We've just got to put it into the program. But the showing, you mentioned the showing, that'll be on April 29th.
April 29th.
At 4:50 p.m. In the Student Union on the 3rd floor. We're the last documentary that will be showing that day. So there will have 2 documentaries before us. We'll be coming on at 4:50.
Okay. April 29th, when people go and see this, what do you hope your audiences will ultimately take away from this documentary? Olivia, I'm going to start with you.
So when thinking about us, I guess, as a generation, I mean, I'm 20, Jacob's 22, right? So a lot of people think that we don't care about them, and it's kind of like the old people we don't want to hear your stories, and that's not necessarily true. I mean, my grandma tells me stories all the time. It has the similar story as Jacob's grandparents. Their school got shut down because in 2004, whenever they didn't have enough people, and my dad had to move and graduate somewhere else. We just want people to know that they do still matter. You know what I'm saying? There are other people that think about them, even though their school has closed, upwards of 10, 20 years ago.
Okay. What about you, Jacob? Similar?
I would say that it's not always about the money.
That's a good one too.
There are people and livelihoods in this state specifically, because Arkansas is a very rural state.
Yeah,
we're number one in a lot of farming, and a lot of the people that run these farms don't live in big cities; they live in small towns, and these small towns are the heart of the state.
Yeah.
So when you pass legislation to close schools because they cost too much money, and you don't want to invest in these children's education, then you send the message that, hey, you out there in the rural part of the state, you don't matter as much. You know, like, it's very devastating to lose your school, but it's even more devastating to lose your community because you lost your school. Because then you don't have anywhere to return to.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's deep, emotional, and I really do hope that when people do watch this, they'll take away what you just stated. That's awesome. Well, that will do for this edition of A-State Connections. I want to thank my guests, Olivia Dockins and Jacob Cater, for joining me today. I also want to say a huge thank you to the instructor of sports media and mass communications, Mr. Dustin Sullivan, and his amazing students in Video Production 1, who are behind the scenes running the show today. I could not host this show without them. Special thanks to our producer today, Mr. Jonathan Reeves, and to our broadcast engineer, Aiden Barber, and graduate assistant, Reese Barnett. Thank you guys so much for your help, and thank you for joining us today. Good night.